Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump, and today we're going to be talking about Dallas Fuel's incredible improvement in Stage 4, Seagull's future, as well as Geguri from the Shanghai Dragons coming in for some criticism, perhaps somewhat unfairly. So first things first, what a story the Dallas Fuel turnaround has been. From complete train wreck to Stage 4 semi-finalists. They even nearly reverse swept NYXL to make the final. Now this has made a lot of fans really happy, and a big part of that success has been the improvement of players like Taimu and Seagull, who, as Slasher noted on Twitter, came into the league as stars with big expectations on them, and despite the rough parts of the Fuel's debut season, ended on a high note for all Overwatch fans, with Old Move Flicks and Seagull raining down Justice's Farah. Even Hastro, the owner of the Fuel, was in good spirits about the league's first season, which must have been hard given the struggles his team has had, saying that when they were making the decision to invest in a league team, a lot of people thought Overwatch esports would be a flash in the pan, but he regards the first regular season as a massive success. I wonder how much his team's recent turnaround in fortunes played in that positive outlook. Probably quite a lot. Speaking of Dallas, and Seagull in particular, it's no secret how much of a fan favourite player he is, and how much additional attention he has brought to the league and to the Fuel. For a lot of people, it would have been a tough decision to drop such a hugely popular and profitable stream in favour of playing pro. He was actually recently asked in an interview about his future and whether he regrets the decision he made when he joined the league over full-time Twitch. His reply was very enlightening. On his pro future, he said that he's not really in the position to worry about making that call yet, as he's still too in the middle of everything to judge properly. If he had to make a decision, it wouldn't be now, but in a couple of months' time. As to whether he had any regrets about going pro, he said, "Playing in the Overwatch League is not an experience you can get anywhere else, and despite knowing that he could have made much more money through his Twitch, he said he made his decision based on wanting to play pro, not knowing if he'd be good enough in Season 2, and knowing that he could always return to the stream at any point. He wanted to go for it while he still could, basically." Now, as a fan, of course I'm sure us and many of you miss his streams, but you have to respect his desire to try and compete at the top level, even if the season didn't go mostly how he would have liked. In regards to his future, I think the drastic improvement of his team's performances will somewhat influence him. Indeed, his own level of play on D.Va was a big factor in their improved record. Will Dallas want to re-sign him? Well, if we return to his brand recognition and popularity, I think that still means a lot in a sport which is currently developing. It's really down to whether he thinks he has what it takes moving forward, and based on recent events, I think it's fair to say he still deserves a place in the league, despite that meaning we'll continue to miss out on his stream. Dallas are a marquee team with exciting players and are easily one of the biggest draws for viewers for the league. If they continue to get their play together under their new head coach Aero, they'll be a force in Season 2. I actually hope we see Seagull return for that. Now recently, Geguri, the flex tank player for the Shanghai Dragons, has received some criticism from the Oversight co-host and esports historian Thorin. On Twitter, he expressed the opinion that Geguri was not for a single second one of the best flex tanks in the league. He added that actually there are dozens of players who are not in the league who are better than her. Now that may seem a little harsh, and perhaps some of the debate surrounding Geguri is more about some seeing her as a token female pro player that commentators can write stories about, what Thorin described as gaslighting narratives. Now Geguri herself has expressed a desire not to be treated as a pseudo-political tool in that way, and to be fair to her, she's not in control of what other people say about her or how they use her for any narrative they do wish to put forward. She can only be judged on the standard of her play, and the criticism of her from Thorin is mostly about her not being good enough. Well, here's the thing, we can look up her stats on websites like Winston's Lab and see where she measures up compared to other pros. The most recent stats put her as the 18th best D.Va out of 31 players in the league. So that's middle of the pack or slightly lower. But you have to remember, she's playing on a team that has performed a historical feat. They did not win a single series in the entire season. Tank stats are going to be worse if your team is losing, but she's near the middle of all the divas despite being on such a terrible roster. It's even worse when you consider the consensus is that Shanghai supports are where the team really struggles. Imagine being a tank player and knowing you will get considerably less help from your backline compared to your opponents. If we compare her ranking on D.Va to say Seagull, who everyone has rightly been full of praise for and who made the Stage 4 semi-finals, we find that he's 13th out of 31. Meko from the NYXL, who is a top 3 flex tank player in anybody's book and plays for the best team, sorry Valiant fans, is ranked 10th out of 31, and Space from Valiant, who won the whole stage, is 4th. So when you take in all the information, her performance isn't as bad as it might appear. The fact that she's not completely at the bottom, being on the team she is, really does speak volumes. Stats, however, can be somewhat misleading both in a player's favour and against sometimes. For example, Saya player has a worse win rate than Logix does from the Florida Mayhem, but you won't find many people who don't think he's one of the elite Widows in the league and a really exciting prospect. If it's an argument on whether Geguri deserves her spot in the league, you'd have to say it's somewhat hard to tell because her team is so bad, but at the same time, you also have to acknowledge that she was often at the centre of the few things Shanghai did well, which is probably why she's not rock bottom statistically as Diva. It can be understandable to be against those who are wishing to use her to further a particular narrative, but the truth is, proper evaluation of her level is messy and not straightforward. For her part, Geguri has only ever wanted to be judged on merit, and will get a much clearer picture of where she stands once her team is not worst team of all time level. Shanghai will undergo drastic changes before the beginning of Season 2, and I do actually expect her to be retained as a player. It's simply not in a team's interest to keep a player on, even with the attention she receives for being a female pro, if they don't feel that they can win with her moving forward. Let me know what you guys think about the criticism Geguri is getting. Do you think she deserves it, or do you think she was one of the best assets that the team had and will deserve a place next season? And that's about it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.